Right now, we're witnessing the most corrupt case in history. And it's all on the pretense of all these things that went on in the 90s. And we're just supposed to bypass these hip-hop cops that were violating these artists' rights back in the 90s. We're going to bypass all this information that they have put out here. And we're going to bypass all these documents that's supposed to profile all these artists with these backgrounds in the industry. And then we're going to keep ignoring that technology nowadays has made it so much easier for these dry snitching informants to come onto these platforms and fulfill these narratives and incriminate a whole bunch of people in order to aid the government in whatever it is they're pushing through their agendas. We see past the bullcrap and how all these individuals came out with these shenanigans.
Government, let me tell y'all motherfuckers something. I'm telling you, shit is real. Shit is getting real. Woo! I'm telling you, shit is real. Shit is getting real. Woo!
It's about the government employee right now. And so I'm sorry, guys. It's about the government employee. I need those emails. Now you guys have permission. I'm giving you guys the license, the limited license to use this content in the most responsible manner. So I'm giving you the license to use the content in the most responsible manner. And don't worry, my lawyers are not coming after you, because I'm telling you not what I don't think happened, what I know happened, because I talked to the person. And once you told me that irated me. It felt like, does this guy just try to shovel bullshit at me? Did I need to put boots on to listen to that? No, you didn't think. How would you say something as asinine as that? I didn't think you wanted to be on the distribution. Man, you better stop playing with me. Give me my emails. And make sure you send out to the other reporters too, while you at it. Look at all the people you credential, and I need to look at my mailbox, and my emails there, I need to have the emails. I need to have all the emails. Because this trial is still going on because the jury is in deliberation. And our piece is lacking in information that we should have. So, I need it. And I don't want any journalists, because if you try to play me with the BS, I'm blasting you too. And I know the reporter, we got our radar on you, as you know, on you right now. And we may or may not. You just apologize to the young lady. I know what you did. She has no reason to lie. And we have someone else to impeach her if she lies. Because I always make sure I have a check and balance. I also make sure that not one person can say, oh, it didn't happen, because someone else is going to validate it, because I already investigated it already. I'm just saying that we're going to do our work. But anyway, guys, God bless you. Stakes are high. Make sure you tag the lawyer, Miss Nicole Blankbecker, Mr. Deborah O'Canick, and the other co-counsels who were not aware that only the prosecution's closing arguments and rebuttal was sent to select members of the press. So how many people, besides the employee, knew that this was happening? How many people knew this was happening? We'll find out. And I have to make sure my GPSs are all turned off. I'm at a secret location. You see the name? Okay. I'm at a secret location. Until it's time for me to be where I need to be at. I'm a black journalist reporting on someone in government. So, and I have relationships with other media outlets because, I have business. So I know what I'm doing. Just read the tea leaves and understand what I'm saying. It's not hard. Then look at the first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights and hone in on the First Amendment and study the articles within that First Amendment and understand where I'm going with this. understand where I'm going with this. The denial of a fair trial is appealable at the U.S. Supreme Court. Don't just be a fan for R. Kelly. Be a fan for justice. Truth, justice. Be a fan for that. I'm just saying, just don't, be a fan for truth. Because guess what? If they can manipulate this employer or other employees that are in this position if they're able to manipulate the narrative of what's happening in this trial by way of the relationships with certain media outlets, this can happen in another trial or another trial that will involve your family member. The stakes could be high. So you got to really call people like this out. Because he had one job to do, and he clearly failed. My lawyer's on it. She's a pit bull in a skirt. And she's ready to go to battle. So I'm going to save this live as well, but I don't have the comments there in place. And I didn't intend to be on here long, but I want to make the point. I'm outraged to a point that I'm witnessing this, and I'm just saddened that we need to put our foot on the scale to get a certain outcome in this trial. Yeah, I'm upset. And while all those people, I know there are a lot of you that don't support R. Kelly as well, but at least you support equitable justice. Support that. No matter what position you're standing on R. Kelly's guilt or innocence. Support fairness in the judicial system, the criminal justice system. Support that equitable fairness. You don't have to like R. Kelly, but at least let them be held accountable to the rules that they set. Let them be held accountable. Let them be held accountable to the rules they set. You cannot change the play in the middle of the game. You can't. This jury is not sequestered. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you see this video, I am telling you that funny business has been played. If I don't get transcripts of a trial that I'm covering from inside, and I'm only relied on taking my own notes while other people are allowed specific access to transcripts. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that you are sitting, waiting for your return on Monday, you should be outraged as well. Because then, some of the things, I want to read this here, and I got to read this. I got to read some of the quotes from defense attorney Kanik. And even the reference to Martin Luther King was twisted. The way some of the media outlets reported it. He didn't say that in that manner. But you ran with it. And that's a problem. So let me scroll down and read some of the quotes from Devereaux Kanik in his closing argument. You know the closing argument that the transcript I didn't receive that should be emailed to me? That one. Let me read something. Attorney Kanik said, "Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech," he said. Somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of the press. That's where I come in. And that Bill of Rights that Dr. King said in his speech, this is what Kanik was referencing in his closing argument. So here I come, and I'm going to reference a part of that clause in that amendment. Freedom of the press. And I'm going to read it further. Koenig said that, like Dr. King, Kelly wants the Constitution to be upheld so the government can be true to what's on paper. True to what's on paper. That's the Constitution. That's on paper. But what else is on paper? The takedown of what occurred in that courtroom. That's on paper and that's in transcript form. And I want it. So I too will echo Dr. King's speech in that the same thing Mr. Kelly wants as a defendant, I want as a member of the press. And absent of that, there cannot be a fair trial. There cannot be. Whoever the defendant is. You can be a superstar or you could be a janitor on trial. But if the Constitution is not upheld by the government, because it's applicable to the government. So if we don't have access in a open fashion as it pertains to the Constitution, there's a problem. It's a big problem. So, in closing, the clock is ticking. Shout out to the reporter that helped me do my investigation. And this email scandal could be a problem.
Now, just like some people have liked to cherry pick certain information from my channel and try to manipulate it, that's basically what I see in what he said and how these individuals in these government positions are cherry picking things that they want to do. Now, when I saw this man on a blogger's channel inquiring about transcripts, I can put two and two together and realize that obviously there's a difference between the public's freedom of information and the press freedom of press. So when they're putting in these credentials and they're supposed to be getting certain information, and he's letting it be known that they're picking certain information and sending it to all these affiliated newscasting agencies, like I've been saying all this time, if you trace all these connections and these affiliations, it will dawn on you as to the motivation as to why they're all sticking to the same script. Just like it became clear to me why certain individuals came out here trying to attach themselves to others, plant these narratives on all these variety of platforms, and people don't see the corruption. Now, on top of that, this man also lets us know that this jury is not sequestered. So keeping in mind that all these people are running the same script, they're cherry picking who they're going to give these scripts to, and the jury, far as we know, can see all of this. Just like we saw that docuseries and all the sequence of events and all these key players coming out incriminating all these individuals participating in this docuseries. Just my opinion, the government was so confident putting these janky-ass informants on the stand to perjure themselves because they banked on one thing. As we saw, it was all strategy in depleting this man's finances, disrupting all of his supporters, scamming as much as possible in between this whole ordeal, and hoping that he won't have the proper defense to lay out all the inconsistencies in these testimonies and bring to the public forefront all the corruption the government has participated in. The irony, they're talking about forced labor in this trial. But let's take it to the 13th Amendment and how all these artists end up slave to their contracts. And then we see situations such as this arise and people don't put two and two together. Well, you can get some of this free labor from criminals versus citizens, right? Just let it sink in.
The only thing I have left is my voice,
now I have to use it for my protection, because they left me no choice. See, my work has nothing to do with my private life, so stay the fuck out of my business and tend to your own damn life. So go ahead, say what you wanna say about who I wanna date, but you won't say that shit to my face, cause you know it ain't shit to say. Next nigga bring me some dumb shit, it's gonna be a misunderstanding, cause niggas that listen to dumb shit are niggas that be on that dumb shit. They need a life cause they ain't got no life, so they always conjuring up dumb shit. Blocking my path, they don't know the half, and so they making assumptions. Since when do assumptions cost a man his whole career? Found guilty when you're innocent is the only test I fear. There is one thing that's for sure, and I wanna make this shit clear. I done lived my voice and represented my country for 31 fucking years. Damn it, I admit.